Hello, folks, and hello to you wherever you may be in the world. Let me just adjust my lighting real quick here. I am recording straight to YouTube, and the topic today is on what is your reason why, your purpose that gets you motivated out of bed, keeps you in the right path, the right direction. And if you don't know it, don't worry, that's what I'm going to explore here. And it's a post that I'm expanding on, or a topic I'm expanding on based on what I posted on my Instagram timeline yesterday. And today is the 25th of August. Should you be curious enough, you can hop on there after this video. So I often come back to this question, what is your reason why? And there's a reason for that. It is a good reminder to know what is your reason why, your purpose, your life vision, as it is something that will help you to make your life journey much easier going forward. So I'll recommend also that if you haven't read Simon Sinek's Start With Your Why, his book, it is worth spending some time hopping over to Amazon and just learning a little bit more, whether it be audio or whichever version you prefer reading. Or you can also just search about him on YouTube as well, just to learn a little bit more of why it's essential to start with your why. Millionaire Mindset is another book that comes to mind by I can't TK ever. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Let me just Google it just real quickly. Millionaire Mindset, and we'll get there. And I know that I always miss something out as well. T have acre. There we go. Okay, I found it. And this is something that I myself listened to in audio format when I was starting out on my entrepreneurship venture, and I also used it as a guide for entrepreneurs who were aspiring entrepreneurs, small business owners who were starting up on this venture. It helps to tap into these resources of knowledge from people who've already been there, done that. And the secret of a millionaire mindset is about overcoming self-limiting beliefs, things that hold you back from maximizing your greatest potential. And knowing your reason why is also very essential, because like I mentioned before, going forward, everything else becomes so much easier. So there are three things that I can think of right now that you need in terms of before jumping into your entrepreneurship, digital nomad lifestyle venture, is to, number one, know your reason why. Number two, know your life vision, your purpose, and your passion. Number three, know who your ideal client is, whether it is somebody that you're going to be working on a one-to-one basis, or it is a partnership, like you're looking to work with like a brand, or you're looking to work as a freelancer contractor. Why it helps you to know these three factors. Let me go to number three, especially about knowing your ideal client. Your ideal client, once you have a picture of them, it helps you to be more aligned in terms of core values. Okay, it makes your journey easier in terms of building relationships or strengthening relationship where there's less friction, because the closer you can get to people who have similar core values with you, the likelihood, I hope you can agree with me, is that your journey as well will become much easier in terms of developing healthier relationships, people with an similar outlook as yours, especially if you have crossed over into understanding your reason why, your life vision, your passions, etc. Then once you're aligned with that, then it's much easier going forward. Now, if you've got any questions about how, okay, let me answer that. How do you discover your reason why and your purpose for doing something? So I'll give you an example like of my life prior to discovering my reason why. I was in a 9 to 5. I didn't have that much clarity about my reason why. I used to think things of like family, my mom, my grandma, and those are all essential and key things, like my whole entire family, of how I would help them. That is essential. When I became an entrepreneur, I got to understand that although it is nice to think about your family as a key driving factor, it is not sufficient enough to drive you forward. Okay, so there's certain things that happen in life. Okay, some of those can be life challenging and life changing situations that help you to then discover what your reason why and your purpose is. So I'll go back to when I was in my office scenario. I used to walk towards the office, and every time I'd think, I don't belong here. It felt like I was imprisoning myself, and it felt like I was walking in the wrong direction. I had a cubicle. I don't think, no, this one wasn't a cubicle. I've worked in so many different office environments. Okay, so I was looking outside my window often, where I had a window. There was one office where I didn't have a window at all. Don't know how I survived. And I would look out, and I always felt something like I needed to be out there doing something more that connected me with people, helping them. But I didn't really know what that was exactly. I knew that in the environment that I was in the career that I was in, although it was connected to good causes, I knew that I would be restricted in terms of like my creativity and in terms of how much I wanted to help, because rightly so, we were bound by contractual agreements, administrative processes, and also to local government in terms of good causes. Okay, so that in itself is what may potentially limit you, whether you're in a corporate or public sector, into propelling forward. I was given opportunities to implement things, but again, I still felt restricted, and I knew that I wanted to exit. And I'm the mindset, and you might relate to this, who, like, let's say 2 or 3 years, I need to be doing something different. Otherwise, especially like in a work scenario, otherwise my mind becomes less stimulated. So that's the way I was, but blindly I was progressing in my career every 3 years without actually knowing that this had become a habit of mine. It was just by opportunity and chance that there were people in my path who were encouraging me to apply for certain opportunities. So thankfully I can thank them as well. And these were like my managers who were supporting me to do that. So my why was driven by the factor that I knew I needed to be out there doing something that was connected to a greater cause. As I got to change my mindset more away from like the employee mindset, I started to learn more about what it means to become an entrepreneur. The more I started to discover more about myself, who I am, what my abilities are, and how I can give back or contribute. Okay, so as I became familiar with what I wanted to do, and I believe the things that were my awakening moments for me were going through restructures, for instance, restructures and the potential risk of losing my job. So I had to go through four processes where I had to reapply, or where my job was at risk because of external factors, financial factors that couldn't be controlled. So that risk was gut-wrenching. It was also an awakening that I needed to shift where I was in terms of my comfort zone, where I complained sometimes, not even sometimes, often, because I wanted an out. Okay, so I would create business plans, but I wouldn't exit. And so it's a long story, but I think you get the gist of it. Those type of things, the triggers, they may look like, oh my goodness, life is so unfair, but there's certain things that need to jolt us into the reality of awakening who we are and what we want to become, especially if you feel like you're in this position where you feel stuck, you feel bored, you feel like you dislike what you're doing, and you need something that will make you thrive more. those awakening moments, do pay attention to them. This is where you start to get sparks of your reason why, who you want to help, and you also get sparks of your vision, what you visualize seeing yourself doing. So when those visions come, it is great to embrace them and find ways, meaningful ways to walk towards it, because your vision won't lie. It's there for a reason. Although it might be scary, that is a good sign. Actually, when it's scary, then that means that you are heading in the right direction to creating something meaningful. And if it's in your stomach, if it feels uncomfortable, if you're feeling some form of anxiety, again, that's a bonus sign that you are going towards something that is your gift, that is your calling, in whatever form you might believe in terms of spirituality, religious, or just normal universal connections. Okay. Universal connections of something, a sign indicating this is where you need to go. Then there are other things like health, the potential risks to my health, the fear of mortality, and also experiencing loss that jolted me again forward to give me realizations. And I took on those realizations and grabbed them to make them into something meaningful. So I'll cut a long story short is that through going through my entrepreneurship journey of listening to podcasts, reading, I started to discover and I started to challenge myself more. The things I feared, like being on camera, speaking, I went on stage. And I found that the more I embraced it, although I was nervous, I felt more confident and comfortable being on stage. Although it was nerve-wracking, I had these like self-limiting beliefs like, oh my goodness, what will happen if I forget something, or what will people say if I'm on camera, or what I sound like. But once I moved forward and did those certain things that I was fearful of, the realizations came that I was passionate about something more than I had been in the workplace. Because when I used to do presentations in the workplace to like, I don't know how many people, I would be so nervous that I'd forget things. Although it was my job and I was used to it, but it was so overwhelming that I couldn't get over the fear. And it was just like a train wreck every time I did presentations. But the more I did something that was aligned with my vision, my reason why, although I was nervous, because I was passionate about the specific topic, and even if I forgot what I needed to say, like I do in my videos, I mess up, I didn't care because it's human nature. I still got my message out there, and I could remember the most meaningful things which I needed to say in that given moment. Okay, so even though I had prompters, I remember one time I had a prompter, not detailed information, because I can't read detailed information, otherwise we won't get anywhere. I prefer just naturally talking to people, even if it's on stage or even if it's on video camera, and just having like a few little prompters somewhere just to say, okay, you need to stick to this point and that point and that point, and that's it. So I remember going to like a presentation in Birmingham. It was a women's forum, and I was nervous, and I thought, oh man, I'll back out of this. I still got on the train. I still got to the way I needed to go. And then the next day I was still nervous. Long story short, I got on the platform to speak, and after I finished, I didn't say exactly what I wanted to say, not everything like in detail, because it was also about engaging with the audience. And I started to think, oh my goodness, I didn't get my message across. Then I thought, bin that thought. You got your message out as it was meant or intended to be, like on that day. Okay, your purpose, you've walked into it, you've done what you have visualized. Okay, so me being on that stage was something that I had visualized. Okay, and prior to that, I'd also visualized that I wanted to help young girls and then women. Okay, young girls, because I can relate to part of their journey, especially young girls in Malawi. I can relate to their story, and I can also relate in a way that what they might be looking for in terms of personal development, entrepreneurship skills. So I started to also embrace that journey, helping in a voluntary capacity, because it's something that I had seen in my vision. And I'd also seen myself being surrounded by women, and then I found ways to actualize that. And then being on stage was another vision, being on camera, you name it. So the reason why I'm focusing on these key examples, it's not to show off, it's just to give you an idea, especially if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not getting any clues. The clues are always in your vision, and they're always normally in your gut. Okay, they will give you, in here you will feel it. Okay, you see your vision and you feel it in your gut that something is telling you this is what you need to do. Even though if it's not very clear, focus on listening on in podcasts, especially the things that you truly enjoy and you don't force yourself to enjoy them, but they just come naturally to you. And then focus on the clues that people give you. They're things like they say to you, oh, you're a good listener, or you've helped me in such and such. This will also give you something meaningful to be able to give back. That is something that you can expand on and be able to help people, because that is where your key strengths lie. When it's much easier to focus on something that you do easily rather than focusing on something that is more complex, because when something is much easier to work on, then you can also like an elastic band, okay? You can just stretch it further and add on things on top to get to make something more, magnified, rather than starting from something that is a break which you can't crack through, you can't break, and you're spending sleepless nights, you can't figure it out. Focus on the easier thing and then expand it, and you will see how much strength, confidence, resilience, your test of will, you will overcome more things much easier. So I'll leave it here. I hope what I have shared has resonated with you. If you've got any specific questions, this was actually going to be a 5-minute, 10-minute video. But if you've got specific questions, do pop them below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I've also got coming to the end of let me start all over again. Okay, so counting towards my birthday next month, September. I'm a September baby. I am offering group mentorship for women in group setting, because that's my vision, and then one-to-one men, if you want to be involved in the process. It is my call. So I'm offering a limited number of people the opportunity to work with me, and this is on free capacity, which I never do. I just create things and then throw them out there to the universe and let people grab what they can and take that opportunity. So this will be in a group setting in my community for the women's mentorship support. And all I want in return is just your feedback, and that is all, so that I can also improve and help other people to enhance, to gain more clarity in terms of what they want to fulfill on their entrepreneurship journey, or in their entrepreneurship journey, whatever way you may put it. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications for my next video. I'm going to be talking about QR codes on Instagram, if I can remember my words correctly. Instagram, introducing QR codes. I'm also going to be writing a blog post on that topic as well. Look out for my next video. Ciao for me for now. Until next time.